everybody. I hope you're doing really great. So it's 5-5, and as you all might be knowing, today is the World Mental Health Day, which is celebrated across the world, and it is also the end day in the week of mental illness awareness. So we've been doing these live sessions from last week, that is from Sunday to Saturday, and I've covered about 6 lives. And if you're new here and you don't know what the objective of these lives are, or if you're not aware what has been happening, so and you don't know me and you're new to the channel itself, my name is Darsha, and I'm a graduate in psychology, and I'm also a member of the British Psychological Society. So I've been conducting live sessions on mental health and mental illness in specific because of the week that is being celebrated. So we've been talking about stigma and stereotypes that exist in mental health. Then we've covered yesterday on depression and anxiety. Then we've been talking about how do you start realizing when something's wrong. You're not feeling great. Then we've been covering sessions mainly about the symptoms, signs, stereotypes, public view of mental health, and things like these. So today in specific, it will be a wrap up to the sessions that we have been doing together, and I've been answering a few questions. So today's session solely is about on the purpose, the objective of the session would be talking about a little bit about dissociation disorder, which is dissociative identity disorder in specific, and we'll be talking a little more on the physical and mental health relation, and as a final wrap up, a little bit on gratitude and positive psychology in specific. Hi Naveen, I'm so glad to see you. I hope you're doing great. So as and when you join, please feel free to use the live chat and let me know how you've been, or how things are going around with you, um, how things are today, right? So if it is okay, I'll start the session, and as and when you join or you have any questions, feedback, things to tell me, or anything in specific, do let me know using the live chat. After the video gets uploaded, I will definitely make sure that there's a Google link where you can let me know your feedbacks, and tell me how you're feeling about these sessions, or what are the things that I could have improved, or things that you would want me to talk about in future. Maybe not a live session, maybe I'll try to upload a video or things like that as and when time permits. But it will definitely be helpful for me to know how things are. And it's my first time taking a virtual space to talk. I'm generally a person who does not involve, in taking up sessions or things like that. So I thought, that the year 2020 in itself is very special. It's not going the way we want. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to take the challenge on me and do something different that I've not been doing. That is how this YouTube channel in the first place has also come. So yeah, so do let me know what your thoughts, feelings, suggestions, anything that is there. If you've been there for yesterday's session or the previous sessions, and you have something to share, like yesterday we talked about a little bit about judgment, and if you have something to share on judgment, or any reflections after the conversation we had, anything, do let me know in the chat at any point, so we can talk and we can definitely hear more views from different people. Okay, so in specific, we are going to be talking, I'll be starting off today with dissociative identity disorder. Since today is the World Mental Health Day, I've seen a lot of online talks and webinars that are going on. So I myself have been attending a few. throughout the day. So the last one, which I just attended the previous hour, which just got over, it was on self-esteem. So I was relating to how we were having the conversation on self and self-esteem and self-confidence and things like that, right? It was a very well formed talk by a psychologist. And yeah, a lot of insights have been happening, and it's very nice to see that even on such a special day, there are a lot of people talking about it. We're having conversation, we're getting to know so many things from different professionals. So do take a chance and moment to go through these if you're aware of any, and I'll try posting things that I know in the community tab so everyone could just go access. Most of them I've seen on our Instagram. So do try following such pages, and I'm sure you'll get to see a lot of webinars and things that you can attend for free or paid. Hi, Alan. Thanks for joining. So, okay, now a little bit of chit chat is over. I think we can head on to the conversation. So, to specifically talk about dissociative disorders, so it's mostly known, we commonly know the name multiple personality when people who are who display certain behavioral characteristics and they start behaving differently. You're like, you know what, is there, are you a whole new together a person who's so different, or did something happen to you, did someone kind of get inside you, and are you, why are you talking Latin and Greek, and this is not who you are, and this is not how we see you to be, and things like these are commonly said, right? So, dissociative set of disorders are the specific disorders that, in its from its name, we can understand that dissociation. So that loss of connection between your thought processes, mainly from your memory, thinking styles, perception, identity, emotion, behavior. When all of this comes into play to a drastic level, that is when these set of disorders get diagnosed. So it disrupts the person in every potential aspect of his or her life. So it basically emerges as a consequence of the trauma that they go through. It's mainly a reflection. If someone's gone through drastic trauma in their life, their childhood, or even disasters, then accidents, things like these, if these events have led a drastic impact on the person, the level of vulnerability to develop these kind of disorders are common. And I know the question was to talk about multiple personality. So the common word we know, multiple personality, is now known as dissociative identity disorder according to the DSM-5. That's a diagnostic manual that clinicians follow to use in their diagnosis. So, in this specific disorder, what happens is the person who's going through forms two or more identities. So, they visualize themselves to be two or more different people, and they adopt their styles of living, they adopt their behaviors to a mild extent. How we can all relate to this is we all have daydreamed, or we all engage in daydreaming, right? Can someone use the live chat or tell me if they have any experience of daydreaming, or do they daydream? So I do. I often, let myself in different thoughts, and I sometimes even do things like, what I could have said in a conversation after the whole event has taken place, or what could I have said, or even in an argument we do things like, we reflect and we're like, oh, you know what, I could have said that, you know what, I could have included this as well. So things like these are also to a very low mild extent, this is dissociation from our reality. So we are forming, how you doing? I'm going good. How you doing, Joel? So things like these also disconnect ourselves from the reality of our life, from how things are, right? So these are the mild things, like, losing that connection from the reality, and creating that space in your own minds. This is basically it in a very mild sense, but on a very drastic sense, in the disorder's perspective, the person identifies themselves to be someone else, and they try to live like that. So they might adopt different names. A classic example of this is, if anyone from here is from Kerala, I can see my few friends here. So Manichitra Tara, so the movie in which Shobana portrays the character, and where she adopts herself to be the character of Nagavali. So that is a very classic example, but it's not. They've obviously added a little bit of dramatic instances to it, but there's a lot of dissociation. So she finds herself to be another person in itself, and she tries to do things like the other person. She tries to behave and form social associations, and she names herself, and she believes that she is this. And in the movie, it is also shown how, when the psychiatrist who's dealing with her, that is Mohanlal, goes and finds out about her childhood, she has gone through a set of traumatic events, and um, yeah, so basically she has some background that has led to this. So these kind of things, again, your traumatic events in life, your childhood adverse, if the childhood is very adverse, things like these may develop. So it is basically as an escape that people want to associate themselves to another person or another identity itself, because the pain and the reality is very overwhelming. They do not want to go through it. So it is very unacceptable, or it is too much for them to handle at a very realistic level. So they try to form such escape routes, which obviously causes problems in every aspect of their life. Like you can imagine, from a career perspective, or from an educational perspective, or from social perspective, behavioral perspective, all of these things happen. And in dissociative, it's mainly like, they have two or more identities. So they might keep shifting back their identities. They might stick on to one identity for a particular period of time, and then they might move to another identity. So all of these things cause drastic consequences than we can imagine and we can talk, because only the person who's going through it might be able to express, and people around them also face a lot of difficulties to understand what is actually going on, what is happening. That comprehension takes time. So treatment perspective, I think all of these talking therapies, CBT, cognitive behavioral approach, to talk about the cognitive aspects, what is going on behind, in cognitive perspective, what are they thinking, and all of these, and then you know associating to their behavioral aspects might all come through. But the first and foremost priority must be given to the fact that the person should be able to accept their past. So it is as a result of their past experiences that things like these develop. So the first and foremost priority goes to that um, the person is the consequences of the past has to be come in terms with acceptance. So Naveen has a question: when the person realize it, when she shifts from one personality to another. So that's very I cannot answer it in a word or two, and I cannot say this is how it generally will be. But the fact that when you ask me who I am, I'm saying I'm Darsha, and I tell you things about myself. And if I go through trauma on a very drastic level, so it's not a very minute thing. If I've gone through abuse and things like over long periods, it somewhere, it stays on my mind, and it builds that thing on my mind where I lose that ability to form a differentiation between who I really am and to the figure that I associate with. So this is what I think, and that is why, yes, they might that when people go through this particular disorder, they don't realize who the other person in their life is, and they might not be able to associate with their friends, peers, family, things like that. So it's a very complicated scenario that happens to the person, to the other people around them. So will she realize? Maybe, maybe not. Is there conscious awareness? I cannot say yes or no, because sometimes there might be, sometimes they might not have that. So that is what the disorder is. It develops in such a way that you cannot differentiate your reality and to your like, imagine we all daydream on a daily basis, yeah. So imagine that situation where you cannot differentiate if the daydream that you're having is your reality. Something what happens in lucid dreams as well. So in the lucid dream that someone is going through, they experience everything in the dream, and it's such a wonderful experience, like I imagine to be that the person gets a hold of everything. So that's another perspective, but I think it's something similar to that, where you can't differentiate who you really are, and you can't identify this is a dream and this is not who I am. So that kind of thing happens, and the person behaves, and things from those lines. So yeah, I hope that answers the question. Is there anything you would like me to answer? So, in dissociative set of disorders, there's another thing that is depersonalization. They again, it's similar to identity, that they cannot come to terms with their reality, and they lose their sense of reality. Then there's another thing, another disorder, that is dissociative amnesia. So, amnesia generally happens. We've seen amnesia in other memory disorders that happen, like Alzheimer's. But in this specific dissociative amnesia, what happens is they might be able to recall, but it's so hidden to the fact that they feel they cannot recall. And over time, over therapeutic measures, over treatment, they might be able to recall. So yeah, dissociative amnesia, that is. So these are the set of dissociative disorders. So it's not very simple to like give out definitions and explain this is what it will look like, because this is a very it's not very common that we might be able to encounter and relate to things like these. But yes, these are definite set of disorders that needs real good attention for basic living for the person, him or herself, and things like that. Are there any questions, reflections, suggestions, anything that you would like to let me know? If not that, we'll talk. We'll talk. So these were the set of disorders we have been discussing since yesterday. So yesterday we spoke of anxiety, a few set of anxiety disorders, obsessive compulsive disorder, then general anxiety, social anxiety. We talked about all of this. Then we spoke a little bit about depression, and we spoke about a little bit about judgment, and some food for thought I let out. So these were the things we covered yesterday, and today I thought we'll just talk a few more minutes about dissociative disorders. Then, okay, if that is it, then I'll start into the conversation about how a lot of questions generally have been about will meditation be effective? Will yoga work out? Is journal writing helpful, and what is the connection between the mind and body. So things like these were a few questions that were going on. To mention, there is a strong relationship between your mind and body. Okay, so that is there's no question of doubt. Like, we all can accept that when we get stressful, our body starts acting up. Like, when I am stressed, I cannot eat, or I cannot sleep properly. So these are my bodily reactions to my mental stress. So that connection is very obvious in this scenario. Are there anything that you all experience or you all see that other people experience? Do let me know in the live chat. Have you seen mind body connections happening in everyday life? Is there anything you all want to comment? Let me know in the live chat. Do you believe that there is a level of mental activity and relationship between physical activities? Do you think something happens when people are performing physical activities that is in relation to um, mental processes? Is there anything that you would like to tell me? To let me know on the chat. So I've been taking up a few classes on sports psychology in specific. So it's a very specific field of psychology that focuses on sports persons and how generally sports occur and things like that. So what I've realized is, and over all these years into the field of psychology, is that yes, your body and mind connects. We can see it not. If I'm not a sports person, but even though I'm not a sports person, I can see it on my physical features, and I can feel it on my everyday basis. I know for a fact that everyone experiences some degree of expression and connection between their mind and body. Is that not it? Or am I just making a perception? Do let me know on chat. But yeah, so when the mind and body connects, but there's obvious research that backs up and supports the fact that there is a definite mind body connection, because when you perform physical activities, when you do yoga, when you do walking, running, taking up gym, or just anything that is physical in nature, and it is or yoga, meditation, mindfulness, all of these things, right? All of these things do have mental health influences. Okay, so the thing is, there are actual biological chemicals that get released, and it's known as endorphins. So when these chemicals are released in your brain, you generally tend to feel good, you feel pleasant, you feel energetic. So usually they say, if you walk in the morning, it helps you retain the rest of the day, right? This is because those kind of chemicals are released, and that stays. And when these releases happen, you have a mental connection to feeling good, and feeling a little happy, energetic. It helps you to calm your mind. And there's obviously better attention, concentration. All of these mental processes happen a little more easy when your mind is a little relaxed. So obviously there's a very obvious connection between the mind and body. That's also why now the proverb goes like, you are what you think, or you're what you do, and things like that. So whatever you do in a day, that's what I've been stressing on since the few live sessions have started. Whatever you do, whatever you take up in a day, whatever conversations you hold, all of this starts affecting you as a person in general. Everything that you associate yourself with, it affects your mental health. It affects your physical well-being as well. When there is a dearth in your mental health, and your mental health graph goes down, obviously it can be seen in your physical nature. Most of the time, of these illnesses are presented as physical symptoms that people can observe. But what happens is, we rule out that this is not a condition or a physical condition, that we rule out when there's the diagnosis, we rule out that all of the test and medical checkup is done to relate that this is a psychological cause. So there are specific disorders that are in perception that it is psychological, it is physical in nature, that the symptoms presented are physical, but the root cause is not a physical cause, but it is a mental cause, it is a mental psychological problem. So this differentiation is generally needed to understand what is what, right? So um, yeah, like I was saying, all of these activities that we perform to, keep our physical health in very good conditions definitely help us. So it also helps us in our perception of self. If you all remember, and if you all have joined in my previous, in my third session or so, I've told about how self is a very important factor to everything that comes into the concept of mental health, right? So, self perception, self esteem, self confidence, self concept, self esteem, all of these things again generally affects how you feel, how you physically feel, mentally feel. The main thing of self esteem, like what usually is seen, especially in body image disorders and things like that, is that that perception of self that you have, it's a very personal thing, right? It's, you don't let out what you think of yourself. No matter how good you may portray yourself to be, at the back of the mind you know that, what, I'm not all this, I'm very I'm not feeling great, or all of these, I don't feel good, and things like these, all of your personal thoughts that generally reflect as your self-esteem. So thing is, all of these are so personal that the other person who might be even close to you for years and years might not even understand what these are for you. So the general functioning of how your physical and mental health is, they both are connected. Like, if your physical health is going down, it will reflect on your mental health, and vice versa. So that relationship is very important to keep yourself in a balance, right? It's not like only one can be given most of importance. Everything as a um, holistic sense should be given a lot of importance. And it's not like you work out and then you don't do anything to take care of your mental health. You do self care and you work out. And in self care, yes, it can be anything that you like, right? So, yes, if working out is how you consider self care, yes, then your physical and your mental health is taken care of. There's no perfect formula to say this is what you should do and this is it. Everything is very subjective, and I think that is also the field's uniqueness. Like every other subject, we don't have a solution like a plus b whole square is equal to a square plus 2ab plus b square. We don't have a perfect solution to things. There are ways, this might work for me, this might not work for you. This subjective uniqueness gives the field a lot of array of options that people might like to do. So journal writing for some, yes, it might be very nice. Like yesterday I was telling you all about how I find mindfulness, right? So I started doing mindfulness, or I was exposed to the concept of mindfulness. Okay, if you're not aware what mindfulness is that that silent, at least I don't want to say it's a very silent moment, but it is that moment when you're generally aware of every thing that is going on around you. It's that conscious experience where you can feel what your body is experiencing, what are you feeling. It's everything is related to your present moment. So you can see what your thoughts are going on, what thoughts are going on, how is your body feeling, where is the blood flow. In deep sense of mindfulness, you're able to get every bodily language or bodily expression that is being carried out, and you are in that state of conscious awareness about every single thing happening around and in you. Okay, so when I was, engaging in the practice of mindfulness, I found it very hard because probably because I didn't continue it for longer, and I might have stopped in the initial days itself. But my experience of mindfulness is like it felt that, I was very vulnerable. Like, I saw my own thoughts. It was like a mirror image of my own self. So that gave me a little bit, oh, I don't want to do this kind of a feeling. But maybe, like, if it continued and I practiced it for longer, probably I could have seen its effectiveness, right? So it's there's no perfect formula to say this is what should be done to curb your mental illness or your mental health. Everything works differently for different people. One size does not fit all. You might not like do it this way, the other person might do it this way. Things differ. That's why we all differ as in our personalities, what we think, what we do, all of these differ, right? So that is what I had to, convey on the aspect of physical and mental health. Any questions, any reflections, anything to disagree with me, or put out your thought or anything, do let me know on the chat. Is that all? What do you think is the connection between physical and mental health, or mental well being? Do you think it needs to be there on a general, everyday life, or do you think that this is just a one time thing and we can get rid of? Or, what are your experiences? What do you do to keep your physical and mental health intact? Or are there any practices you follow? Is there anything that you would like to let me know, or share here? Please get interactive, okay? I don't want to feel like I'm just giving out a speech and walking off, because this was the last session, and I hope how we can keep the conversation going and everyone's not bored of me. Yeah, so let me know on the chat at any point as I continue the conversation further. But yeah, my whole point being, yes, your physical and mental health matters, and both of them should equally matter in life. It's not like one thing prioritizes. Yeah, both goes hand in hand. Workouts are a great way for that. But what if the person, does not like working out? Like, I'm a person, I joined gym for a few months. I paid a lot, but I never used it because I didn't. Yeah, obviously, there's a lot of my perspective to it. Like, I wasn't motivated, and I didn't feel like it. So yeah, um, I don't know if that works out for everyone, but yeah, it basically it's your priorities. Your What is your perception about it? So yeah, okay. Then if that is all, then we'll talk a little bit about positive aspects. Same. Honestly, anything that makes you happy and feel relaxed. Yes, that is what self-care is all about. It is about doing anything and everything that will make you happy, keep you safe, keep you feel comfortable. I dance, and that makes me feel a lot better. Yeah, anything, yes. So it, when I wish I could dance. Like, I dance when no one's seeing and I'm in my personal space. So yeah, I wish I could do it with more confidence, but no. So yeah, yeah. So my kind of self care goes when, I'm either reading, and I find solitude a very nice thing. It's my personal opinion again. So I'll, shut out everybody, shut out my phone, my interaction with any other human being, and I'll find that small space where I can comfortably be and read and sometimes maybe even listen to music, and then I'm just in my own way. Yeah, so that's how I do a little bit of self-care. Otherwise I write. I not like I maintain a journal or anything, but I write whenever I have opinions to express. It's not usually shared out, or sometimes when I feel the need to share. I've started a little blog, uh, but it's not that I update it frequently. But yeah, so so that Bindu Madhu on the chat is my mom. Yeah. So yes, that's how I take self care. Okay. Anyways, then let's talk about. So psychology is not really about just the negative aspects. It's not just about the illnesses. Okay, Naveen says, yeah, I like reading too, and at one stretch, reads a lot whenever I can. That's my issue too. Like, if I start doing something, like I need to finish it. That especially in reading and watching things, I'll compromise on anything. Like when if I have work and things to get done, I'll compromise on all of it, and I'll even sit midnight and compromise my sleep to complete that thing that I've started. So yeah, I can relate. It's not very healthy, but something that I do is that. All right. So psychology is not always about how, it's not always about illness, or it's not about the disorders, and it's not only about your mental aspect. Psychology is about a lot more positive things. It's about so in the final year of my undergrad, I took up this module of positive side. So it was a very chill module. Like we used to talk about only positive aspects. So in other classes, in other conversations, we talk about so much of things that are very heavy. Okay, so we talk about very emotional or very heavy stuff, like I feel. Okay, so this particular module was about feeling very light, feeling life as a very light thing. So we used to particularly talk only about positive aspects. Like can you name a few positive aspects that you think we should talk more often about, or any positive perspectives on psychology that you want to throw light on, or anything you would like to tell me? Okay, use the live chat at any point and let me know what you think. So, most of the positive aspects of psychology fall onto things like resilience, hope, lot of hope. Then this happiness. How can we forget how we all are trying to keep ourselves happy despite everything that's happening around us? So, yeah, happiness. Hi, Tejas. So, I was just talking about physical and mental health connection. So Tejas is a yoga therapist. Can I say that? Yes. So he is one person that I constantly talk about physical and mental health connection. So yeah. So most of the positive aspects of psychology that we talk about are on resilience, happiness, hope, birth, feeling of emotions like happy is an emotion we all know, but gratitude, kindness, so these kind of things I find it very very awkward when people only talk about the illness side of psychology. So I thought it was very necessary that we talk about the positive aspect of psychology, or the positive things that psychology holds on. And in things like hope, how hopeful we are. Obviously the hopeless we are starts having consequences, but how hopeful we are, to see that bright side and bright aspect and that positivity in everything that happens is what resilience is about. How fast you catch up even when you fall down. Then happiness, like how I don't know what definition to really give on that emotion of happiness. Obviously, there are a lot of chemicals released. There's that smile or a laughter that depicts this particular emotion. But how is there anyone who would like to comment what happiness to you is? And I think happiness is a very subjective thing. Like there are people who don't consider their achievements, like they don't consider that as happy, but they'll consider something else as happy, like just maybe doing something for themselves, they might consider that as happiness. So I think happiness in the definition itself is a very subjective thing. Like different people feel happiness for different things. So there was this particular show in this channel by Kappa TV, if anybody knows. So it was the Happiness Project. So it was a very interesting project. So there was an anchor, Tanya, and she used to get different anchors or artists and everybody in field. So she used to ask people questions like, "What is happiness for you?" And happiness has lot of different definitions for different people, which I feel is very nice, right? Like when it comes to things like the negative side, we all kind of have a common thing. Like we all say this is the common way, or this is the definition and things like that. But for happiness, we are all like, this is not happiness for me, this is, like Kathy just mentioned on the chat, happiness for me is spending time with my family and friends. Yes, it definitely is. And I know a lot of people can relate to that. So happiness again is a very subjective concept, like a lot of things are. So is for me, if you have to ask me to define happiness, I love traveling. Like I could do anything to keep myself traveling, and COVID has definitely halted my plans of travel, and I don't know when I will travel next. So that gives me a very bad feeling, and it kind of really lets me down. But that is one of the things that I find that really makes me happy, like going out to a different place, seeing a lot of different things, and being exposed to, getting that exposure of different perspectives to life, to see out and see the nature, how people are in different countries, what is the language they speak. All of this lets me to very huge levels of excitement, and that is kind of my happy thing. But I don't remember which show it was or something. I was watching out, and then there's this thing like, what is your happy place? And yeah, so our happy places always differ. It's not like it's a constant thing. But yeah, it keeps changing also. I think, like if you asked me what my happy place was a few years ago, it might would have been different. And that's how we all evolve and grow and things like that. So, okay, I specifically wanted to talk about kindness and gratitude, especially because we are in the pandemic and we are not out of it yet, and we don't know when we will be. So, for definite reasons, the pandemic has, obviously, in comparison to all other years of all of our, at least most of our lives, the pandemic has been different. It has been treating us all differently. We might have had some effect at some point in our lives. So we might have had something that has not been going, and we see that lockdown across the world has, led to its own mental health effects in specific. But one of the things, like I would take away and I hold on to in this pandemic is about kindness and gratitude, which I thought should be shared, especially since everyone's been attending to these small little talks I've been giving for over the week. So I will obviously end this session on the gratitude note. But to talk about kindness, what is your perspective on kindness? Is kindness just an act that happens in the moment, that something falls down and we pick up it for people we don't know, something like that, or is it more than that? What are your thoughts on kindness? And like, to talk, if you had to mention or explain what kindness is to you, what do you think you would say? For me, I think kindness is any gesture that we do consciously, unconsciously sometimes, or sometimes I feel it is also a characteristic that people generally possess. Like, just there are some people who can stay kind throughout their lives, despite having bad experiences and things like that. They still don't show. I mean, don't stop being kind enough. So kindness is very, again, subjective, but in my perspectives, kindness is about that person who will give that extra care. But I'm being too I'm being too, or I'm expecting it to be too much, maybe sometimes at some certain circumstances. But I'm not saying this is the actual way it is, or I'm not saying this is how it should be or anything like that. But in my perspective, this is what I think kindness looks for me. Is there anything that anyone else wants to share? Okay. Okay. So it can be in overt behaviors, like people can, do extra efforts and, hi, I can see a hi. So it can be that people can do extra efforts, or, generally portray a sense of caring. All of this might come into kindness, but I don't think it limits to that. And people can be caring even if they don't express it overtly in behaviors. Like, they can just ask you or talk to you, or they might just be caring for you otherwise itself. Today's topic, we've been talking about dissociative disorder. Then we started talking about positive aspects in psychology. So we covered a little bit on happiness. Then we're now talking about kindness. And we're going to end the session in a note of gratitude. It's not like a thank you speech and I'm going to give out that kind of a thing, but it's just that I thought gratitude and kindness is something that I've learned in this pandemic, that we should be all grateful for the fact that we are all alive, and there are at least 12 people watching this right now, and I'm talking at the other end of the screen. And despite our worries of health, and all the things that have been happening around, the news that's going around, the cases, the rise of cases, the job losses, all of these. So uh, gratitude, I think, has the one has been the eye opener for the year. uh, and yeah, it's okay. And so gratitude, like what is your expression of gratitude? Is it just being thankful for everything we have, or is it just that the word thank you, which we say unconsciously, or and there I see it very often that sometimes even I myself say thank you as a habit. Like, it comes unconscious to me. Like, I don't make that conscious effort to say it. Like, someone does something and I'm like, you know what, thank you so much. Do you all engage in the practice, or is there anything like you would like to tell me about gratitude, kindness, all the positive aspects that we've been talking about? Let me know on the live chat. But yeah, I've seen a lot of circumstances where I generally engage in the practice of thanking someone when they do small gestures. And I've seen how, in childhood, a lot of parents tell their kids, what, tell auntie thank you, tell uncle thank you, and how they've been trying to educate the child enough to literally, uh, make them say that word and things like that. So I think all of that matters into being thankful and gratitude, in my Okay, Naveen says, I felt gratitude mostly to my parents and friends. Why is that so that you have felt gratitude? Is that because they've stayed in your life longer and they've put efforts? Is it because of that? Like many expressions of what people say, yeah, to gratitude, like to the people that they thank themselves for. I've seen that there are reasons, and there's a specific of why they're thankful to that particular person. So it's just a question. If you feel the openness to answer, you can answer. Otherwise, you can leave it out. But so in positive psychology that I was taking up, initially it was that it was a lot of pressure to start thinking about positive aspects of psychology, and to they say and talk about things like happiness. But as the classes start happening, we started saying about it, we started talking about it, and there was a lot of energy in the room that was all positive, that we all started looking forward to that class at one point. But it got an end in the in an unexpected way. But anyways, yeah, so the point being that we don't talk about the positive sides. We don't talk about we just constantly talking about our worries, fears, things like that. So I've always felt the proportion that we talk about in our negatives are higher in magnitude and intensity than our negatives. Okay, so I've got a few messages on the live chat. First, Kathy's, I feel it's an amazing parental quality to teach children to be thankful for anything that's done for them. Um, there's a lot of research that says that our learning of what we've been taught and what our people around us, that is our role models, do around in the society, is somewhere we start inculcating it, somewhere we start practicing it if we feel that they are accepted for it, and we whatever we make out of it, basically we start practicing it, and we start doing it consciously and consciously and all that. That's also kind of how we learn the norms of the society, and we learn a lot of different things from that. So definitely, if parents teaching children in anything, not just gratitude or saying thank you, in every aspect, I think it kind of really leaves an impact. But I've seen Praveen's comment, which says, I don't think training small kids to say thank you is a good idea. Children need to know why they are saying it instead of just saying it without actually meaning it. Yes, I really do agree to the second part of it. Um, Parents, okay, so Kathy says parents can teach why they're asking the kids to be thankful for. So I think not just in saying a thank you or things like that. I think any behavior that you teach children, or any behavior that you teach people in young ages, should be with the reason of why they're doing it. Most of the times I've realized that people do it without even knowing why. Like, we say sorry, like thank you, so so much that sometimes the word loses its meaning. Like often in relationships, people say, I don't know why you're saying sorry, you tell me this every time you do something and all of that. So things, words like these, sorry, thank you, please, sometimes it just comes out of habit without really knowing the reason why, and sometimes it loses its meaning because most of the time people don't mean the things they say. So yeah, all of that happens. But I don't know if it's just because why parents have taught them, or what they have learned, or I think it all differs. But yeah, in between, Naveen has said for the efforts. Okay, so he has answered me on asking him why he thanks his parents and friends. So he said, for the efforts they have put me to help me, and for helping me a lot. Yes. So yeah, I do really feel that gratitude and things like this comes out because people believe that it is necessary to appreciate someone else's effort, and things like that. So I find myself being grateful for the fact that we all are alive and we all are having the session, and we all have been having the session for the week. And it was really when I started this, when I wanted to start taking up sessions, I wanted to find that purpose for doing it. So since it was I was reading on, obviously I keep reading on mental health and mental illnesses, but when I was checking on the calendar and stuff like that, I was like, okay, so it is the mental awareness week. So I felt like even if it's small, even if a lot of people don't join, even if it's just one person watching it, it's okay. Like this is just a start, and this is just that what I think should be, a small start in my own ways to do. So even the channel in itself is something that I was not a person who, who can talk a lot, or who find engaging myself with talking so much, because I find myself very conscious when I do that. So yeah, so it's been a lot of pushing and motivating myself to change a little, because I felt the need to. So this was this session, and starting up and taking up different topics, obviously it was a lot of learning for myself, and receiving questions gave me a lot of happiness, because to see that at least a few people are listening, and at least a few people are engaging, in watching the sessions, kind of motivated me every day. And obviously a few things might have not gone very good, or things like that might have happened, and obviously there might have been flaws in between sessions. I might have said things that may or may not have been right at the moment, and things like that. But it was definitely a very pleasant thing that I think I've done over the year, and something that I'm going to remember for a very long time. So I thank everybody who has taken their time, and I think time is one of those valuable things that you won't ever get back. So to everybody who has taken the time and effort in, talking to me, engaging in conversation, sending me emails and telling me to talk about so and so, telling me things that could have been better, and reflecting, giving me feedback, sharing it on the live chat, so everybody who knows it, who's watching it, also gets a share of experience and things like that. So I really thank everyone who's taken out this, and they still continue to take that support, to support me, to support the cause that we all are here for today. So that's about it. Until we meet again. I don't know when. I'll host another set of another set of sessions. But until we meet again, and until I hope we all get to meet in a physical space someday soon, and until things around us also get better, I hope all of this was beneficial to you in some way or another. At least you've heard something new or something like that. So Naveen says, thank you for doing these sessions. It was really amazing. So I'm very bad to accept compliments. So anyways, it was really nice meeting a lot of different perspectives and different people. Is there anything anyone else would like to share? Anyways, once this video gets uploaded, I am going to leave out Google form, so that you all can let me know what you thought of these sessions, and what are your insights, what could have been better, what could I have talked about. Maybe all of those I might take them all into consideration when I'm making out future videos and things like that. So it will be a definite reflection of things like that, and otherwise also it will just help me to reflect back on what I could have done better, or what I can do better in the future. So do let me know, and if there's nothing else, I'm going to end the session in a minute or so. So yeah, it's my little thank you. Okay, so I don't see anything. Otherwise, you can always email me. and I'm going. It's already there on the community tab in a few posts, but obviously I'm going to leave it once this video gets uploaded on the description. So it generally takes a day or something to get uploaded. So if I do a session today, it will be out by tomorrow morning. Yeah, that's how it takes. So, and the thing about lives is you cannot go back and edit it, so it comes out just the way it is. So it's raw in its own nature. So it, um, pardon me for my flaws. So that's about it. We're going to end the session, and it was really nice meeting all of you. Thank you.